talking about the full moon in Virgo. Welcome in. Tonight, we're exploring the theme of surrender, not as something fixed or final, but as something that may be emerging. With the full moon Virgo eclipse, Mercury retrograde in Pisces, Jupiter in Cancer, and Neptune in Aries. There may be a collective atmosphere that brings attention to how we release control without abandoning responsibility. The moment we may be noticing. This Virgo eclipse may coincide with an increased sensitivity to purification, discernment, emotional regulation, nervous system awareness. Mercury retrograde in Pisces can sometimes soften certainty. It may invite reflection rather than reaction. That's a big one. Jupiter in Cancer might correlate with a growing awareness that growth often feels safer when emotional foundations are present. And Neptune in Aries introduces a question that may be surfacing. Is it possible to release control while still remaining engaged? So, this moment may not be about passive surrender. It could instead reflect a movement toward conscious release that supports healthier structure. And in short, the sun in Pisces, the full moon in Virgo, Mercury retrograde, as Mercury is the ruler of Virgo, and Jupiter in Cancer, because Jupiter is the ancient ruler of Pisces, and Neptune in Aries, because Neptune is the modern ruler of Pisces. For the record, a symbolic look at surrender. If we explore the root meaning of the word, stir, S-U-R, over or above, render, to give back. Surrender originally suggested to give something back into rightful keeping, not defeat, not submission, not collapse, but potentially returning control to something wiser than personal force alone. When surrender becomes avoidance, at times, what appears as surrender may resemble avoidance, emotional flooding, hopelessness, withdrawal from responsibility, waiting for life to resolve itself. This might be less about surrender and more about dissociation. A Virgo influence may bring awareness to this distinction. Healthier forms of surrender A more regulated surrender might sound like I may not control the outcome, but I can still participate. Jupiter in Cancer may highlight that surrender tends to arise more naturally when a sense of safety is present, rather than from urgency or survival mode. The Virgo contribution. Virgo symbolism often points toward structure, containment, discernment, and daily care. This suggests that surrender may not require chaos. It might unfold more easily within supportive systems without structure. Release can sometimes drift into avoidance. Neptune in Aries. Neptune traditionally dissolves identity. In Aries, there may be an emerging theme of acting from trust rather than force. This may look like releasing the need to control how something unfolds while still remaining willing to show up. That's a big one. Practicing healthy surrender. This is a this is huge here. Listen up. You're gonna like this. Here are some reflective approaches you might explore. Something to keep in mind from the full moon to the next new moon in Aries coming soon. The Virgo filter, because the full moon is in Virgo. Virgo is about refinement. You might ask these three questions. Is this mine to control? Is this mine to care for? Is this mine to care for? Is this mine to release? Two, regulated release. Before letting go of something, you might check. Is my breath steady? If not, the impulse may be escape rather than surrender. Sometimes waiting for the body to soften allows release to come from clarity rather than overwhelm. Three, action after release. Surrender may not remove movement, it might clarify it. You might ask, what is one small aligned step available now? Ooh, that's a good one. I like that one. What is one small aligned step available right now in this moment? So, integration. How do we integrate this? This eclipse may invite a reconsideration of order without rigidity, flow without chaos. Excuse me. Healthy surrender might resemble trust with structure, release with responsibility, faith with participation. So, in closing, surrender may not be a loss of power. It might instead be a return of power to the place where it can be held more wisely. Ooh, wow. Boom. So, welcome. If you just got here, welcome. That was from some notes that I took that I wanted to get through talking about surrender. And I'm going to reference these notes here in the demonstrations that I'm going to do. If anybody would like to have me look at their chart, you're more than welcome. If you want me to look at your chart, you can donate and put your birth information in the memo in the Cash App, and I'll pull up your chart and I'll incorporate this surrender theme, which is a key word for Pisces. And the full moon in Virgo is a component that works with surrender. The Pisces Virgo axis. But I wanted to read that and leave this here for those to go back and listen to what the full moon in Virgo might be. Because Pisces, collectively, the word surrender may be a key word that is important to, maybe beneficial to be reminded of over the course of the next 2 weeks, as this frequency of dissolving, if you will, and surrender become important at the end of a cycle. Pisces is known as the end, not for nothing and for something at the same time. What comes to mind is purification for not only Virgo and the Virgo qualities, but also for Pisces qualities as well. Excuse me. Welcome in. Who's first? Let's pull up an exhibit here so we can get a visual of this full moon here in Virgo. It's happening at, is that Tuesday? It is Tuesday, Tuesday morning. For those who are in the Eastern Standard Time Zone, okay? Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. If you go to my bio, you can find a spot for me to pull up your chart. It's okay if you put your, I don't know if that's your birth information. You're quite young if it's 2026. But you can put your birth information in the memo. 1254 is the degree. I actually have 1253. The moon in Virgo at 1253 exactly opposes the sun. This is the sun. This is the moon. 1253 Pisces, 1253 Virgo is where the moon is located. And so what I talked about are the sun in Pisces, surrender, moon in Virgo, purification, Mercury retrograde. The Mercury retrograde in Pisces is connected symbolically and energetically to the moon in Virgo. Does anybody recognize that? You may have heard this before, you may not have heard this before. However, Mercury, in the school of thought of planetary rulership, is the planet that is connected to Virgo, and it's also connected to the zodiac sign Gemini. So with this full moon being in Virgo, it highlights and amplifies Mercury and Pisces. And I think that, or what comes to mind of an energy or a frequency that can possibly be expressed collectively, it's like an energy or a feeling in the air. You might recognize friends, family, coworkers, apt to look for escape, which is a Piscean character trait, as opposed to creating routine, establishing healthy boundaries, and taking care of the health through regulated systems or the regulation of one's body, quite specifically. So, Mercury is literally an important planet for this eclipse. Well, Mercury deals with the thinking faculties, the processing of information, ideas, speech patterns. But I'm not of the mind that Mercury retrograde is a negative thing or a bad thing. However, Mercury is said to be at its fall when it's in Pisces, meaning that it doesn't perform the best there unless it has some support. When I say support, I mean there are other planetary energies that align with Mercury to share some of their frequency with Mercury. Are you with me? So, another planet with this full moon are the planetary rulers of Pisces, which Jupiter in Cancer is one, right? I want to go to my notes here because Jupiter in Cancer here, if you look here, you can see how Jupiter in Cancer in this chart is showing some blue lines. These are aspect lines too. Looks like Mars, the North Node, the Sun, and also Mercury there. These are harmonious alignments, which we can interpret Jupiter as bringing this optimism, if you will, or we can interpret it as an optimistic, which can be good or it could be sunny, could be the sunny side of the street, or it could be the shadowy side of the street. In layman's terms, it could be good and bad, or good or bad, both. Jupiter is known to be a planet of fortune, luck, and opportunity. But it sometimes can bring excess. So at first glance, Jupiter, let's say having a conversation with Mercury, the Sun, the North Node, and Mars, right? Instead of saying aspect, let's say conversation. Jupiter's having a noble conversation or energetically, Jupiter is lending some fortunate rays to the thought processes, to the expression of self, and to the motivated drive of the collective and individuals who have Pisces planets and Cancer planets. There's a looking for safety and security, which is a key trait for Cancer, if you will. And so that can be supportive, but it's also an indicator of excess. So just be mindful of that, right? What else do we have? We have Neptune here in Aries, which is the modern ruler of Pisces. Let me refer back to my notes here. Neptune in Aries introduces a question that may be surfacing. Is it possible to release control while still remaining engaged? That's an interesting feature because Aries is about identity. Aries is the symbol of the I am that I am. And so Neptune and Aries, Neptune is being powered by the sun, by the way, right? This is, and Neptune is the modern ruler. So it can give someone a sense of self confidence, but at the same, and that could be a sunny side of the street or a positive trait and behavior. But there's also the shadow side where an individual can be clouded and think that they are more than what they are. And it's interesting when we get into the axis, the Aries Libra axis, when it comes to Neptune and Saturn. For Neptune over the course of the next 14 years, Saturn over the course of the next 2 years, and some of these other planets that are going to be rolling into or transiting and passing by Aries here in the near future. So those are the main aspects that I wanted to share. The sun in Pisces, moon in Virgo, Mercury retrograde in Pisces, asking us to reconnect with our belief systems. Jupiter in Cancer, optimism and security, and Neptune in Aries, which is Aries is a fire sign. So at the same time that Pisces has character traits of passivity, this full moon, this eclipse, if it were sharing a message, it would be to surrender, let go. You know, the whole phrase, let go and let God, right? But don't let go like, oh, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to let everything happen on its own. Still play your part, still do the service and the work of what you can do, but try not to out control the outcome. Just do your diligence, just do the routines, do what you know. Does that make sense? So, what I've been doing a lot lately, I've reactivated this looking up the root meaning of words. It's beneficial and it opens up, it has opened my awareness to the meaning of a word. And I would offer it to you. Even words that you think you know the meaning of, to be on a quest to be informed. I think, or I process, and through my integration of the transits, the relationship, and the conversation, if you will, that Jupiter and Cancer is having with Mercury and Pisces is going back to words and meanings of what is said and how we speak, even not for nothing and for something at the same time. You know, we are still in eclipse season, and eclipse season is about shadows, and not shadows in a negative light, but shadows in a reflective light, an introspection, if you will, an introspection of how to let go, surrender. All right, so we're going to open it up for some questions. I'm going to do a couple of demonstrations, and that's what we'll do. Thank you so much. I'm really working on some aspects of myself with this surrender was huge for me, and incorporating this into my life with letting go of perfectionism and maintaining a regulated system through breath work. I'm on a quest to be intentional and continue this routine of intentionally taking my time and moving slower with my words. Something new, something new. So if you recognize the shift with how I deliver the information, know that I'm working on surrendering, being myself and authentic, but surrendering the rush or the need to be perfect and more focusing on taking my time and letting the rest just happen. Thank you for the likes and the shares. Who's first? It's interesting too. Eclipses are about shadows. Not for nothing. The exact moment of the full moon is going to be under the horizon line where I'm located. Excuse me. If you're in California, you'll see it in the west, possibly. Well, what I'm trying to say is that a Virgo contribution, if you will, and what Virgo points to, structure and containment. And so if the moon changes its discoloration, or in that it's an eclipse, a lunar eclipse, a partial lunar eclipse, and it brings somewhat of a shadow, then it may be symbolic of reflecting on our structure and containment. That's one of the tie-ins with this keyword surrender for Pisces and purification and structure and discernment. It's like utilizing discernment for what you know, but letting go at the same time, or letting go with that and listening to your gut. The phrase of listen to your gut, like the gut. I was talking about this earlier today, how Pisces is looked at as this perceptive energy from an internal place, a feeling base. I feel, I don't know, I just feel. Like Bruce Lee said, don't think, feel, right? Pisces, sensitive, psychic, psyche. And it's in direct relationship to the zodiac sign Virgo, which is the sign of discernment, the gut mind. Like, Ray, I don't know. I just feel my stomach is just telling me, it's talking to me. You know, you've been feeding your gut, getting in shape and sturdy. Maybe this eclipse energy, in essence, is like, maybe let it be what it is. And don't strain yourself too much with how you look, or if there's anything that's uncomfortable, like listen to your gut, like make the necessary adjustments. If you got the Let's say you got the manual from someone and you're like, oh, and they tell you, oh, you got to stick to this, you got to do this and this, don't skip a beat. And your gut's just like, I think I want to adjust this a little bit, just tweak it just a little bit. Know that that's okay. That's a form of surrender. An example, you know, the zodiac sign Virgo points to daily care, simple stuff, simple stuff. Like it may not be, or you may have taken 3 showers in the course of the day, but daily care might be rinsing, put some water on your face for a refresher, just for freshening. Maybe it's cold water. Maybe it's, you know, a change. It's purification. Virgo is a reminder of purification. Maybe you pay attention to the foods that you eat. Maybe you look at the ingredients a little bit. Maybe you're a little bit more attentive to the details of what you're eating, maybe. And I say that because Virgo is the gut, the intestine, which is on the same axis and across the street to Pisces, which is the immune system, the foods that we eat and that are digested and absorbed into the small and the large intestine, or through the digestive system, is in a direct relationship with the immune system. Supports the immune system. The foods that we eat support the immune system, or they do not. It says here that, or what I have in my notes, as far as the Virgo contribution, that it might unfold more easily within supportive system. Are you supported? Are you supporting yourself? Not for nothing. It's interesting how Pisces is a sign of solitude when it comes to the inner knowing that happens in a place that's by yourself, with yourself. Even if you're in a crowded people, that feeling happens with you and yourself. All right, so that's what I have. Keep it short and sweet. Looks like everyone is satiated with their charts. There's a contentment I'm sensing. The, the wind in the live is contentment. If you're watching this video after the live, comment, tell me what you think, your perspectives, your reflections on it. Um, and surrender. Have a look at the root meaning of the word surrender. I have it in the beginning of the live, but maybe go deeper. Look at where the Pisces Virgo axis is in your chart if you DIY in it for yourself. Do it yourself astrology. Yours is South and North Node. South and North Node, you mean South Node in Pisces, North Node in Virgo? The exact opposite? I'm guessing that's what you mean. Okay, so you have the North Node in Pisces, and you have the South Node in Virgo, just like the transit. So you're having a nodal return. Is that what you're saying? First house, first and seventh houses? What are you asking me? Are you asking me the meaning of the first and the seventh house? Or if the Pisces Virgo axis happens in the first and the seventh house for your chart? Talk to me. Help me understand what you're saying. I'm not sure what you mean. Surrender. To give something back into rightful keeping. Perfect word for ISIS. Put it back. Oh. Mhm. At the end of the cycle, to put things back into the greater good. I also, what did I have here? I had another part here. Did I not? Oh no, I incorporated it. Okay. Um, Thank you so much for the likes, the shares, and I'll see you in the next video.